Hello, welcome to another Becoming a Modern Man. We are playing our red-green Tron deck once again, and this time we are playing against red deck wins. This is our opening hand, not too bad. A couple of expedition maps, a couple of silver scrangs, and a chromatic sphere. So obviously low on bombs, but quite a lot of ways to search up Tron pieces, which is nice, and hopefully the chromatic sphere will help us draw into the bombs once we get our lands together. So, unfortunately we're going to be on the draw here against red deck wins. That leaves off the stomping ground. I think that's a rift bolt, yeah, suspends a rift bolt. Draw a chromatic sphere, which isn't ideal. I'm just going to lead off with an expedition map. Into a second Tron piece so we can set up turn 3 Tron. Unfortunately we only get a forest. Just going to pass the turn here. Could have Sylvan Scrying, but I think we might as well use the expedition map while we got it out. Also it can help it avoid a destructive revelry or something, in case he's running those main deck. Let's see. Tarka's command at end of turn. Knocks us down to and then a lava spike, which knocks us down to 11. And then our opponent plays a Tasiga. So things are not looking great for us. We're on 11, our opponent has a Tasiga, and we've barely really got started, which is unfortunate. Going to tutor up a land, doesn't really matter which one as long as it's not an Urza's Tower, I guess. So pick up an Urza's Mine. Ivy off the top is not going to do as much good. And the Sylvan Scrying for our last Tron piece, so that's the cheapest way to do it. So we're going to pick up a power plant, and then we're just going to run out of sphere here. But means we're going to end up taking 4 next turn and possibly a bit more. Suspends a rift bolt. So yeah, now we've got Tron line, but unfortunately we haven't got anything to play with it really. So we're going to start cracking our spheres, etc. We find an Oblivion Stone. I actually can play that and crack it now. Get rid of the Tasiga. It seems like a good idea, otherwise we're going down to 3 next turn for sure, and then we'll just die to the rift bolt, so needed to do that to prevent just being dead. So a good chance we'll be pretty close to dead anyway. Going down to 4 here, can't spend another rift bolt, so we're going down to 1 next turn. Chromatic Star, and I concede from here. I can't really see any way getting back into this. We're going to go down to 1 next turn, and there's just nothing really we can do. Even if we drew into a worm coil engine, that would be too slow. So we just don't really have any answer. We can't play huge Eldrazi because we just don't have the lands yet. So yeah, just too fast for us, unfortunately, which is a big problem with red deck wins. Probably one of the worst matchups, I would say, for the deck. They're just really, really fast, and it's very difficult to combat. It's turned out to be a fairly interesting red deck wins matchup, so that's why I've chosen to show this one to you. So this is our opener for game 2, which will take on the play. That's not so great. Do have Spell Scout though, which I'm pretty sure I sideboarded in some more of those, just as a good blocker for the early creatures, and then obviously you can redirect burn spells potentially. We'll go down to 6 into this hand, which has a Spell Scout, not a whole lot else, but does have 2 Tron pieces. I had to run with this just because I really don't want to mulligan down to 5. Bit of a risk, but kind of hoping we'll get lucky. Lose Goblin Guide, attack, there's a Worm Coil Engine on top. It would be very nice if we can get the mana together quickly, but we've got this Spell Scout to hold the fort at least for a little while, with any luck. Fortunately it eats a Destructive Revelry, and then our opponent attacks, but that finds us the first Tron piece, which is very good for us. Means we can drop this Worm Coil, and then opponent's forced to answer us. Early Worm Coil Engines is one of the best ways to beat red deck wins. They do have ways around it. Attackers command, potentially Skullcrack as well to stop the lifelink, which is the reason why Wormcoil is so good against them. But I'll just see if he's able to deal with that. So if I play Vexing Devil, I'm not going to take 4 damage because I don't want to, and because we have a Wormcoil engine that can deal with the Vexing Devil. Turn to a Chromatic Sphere, but I think we're just going to run out the Eye of Ugin, which will allow us to search up another Wormcoil engine at the end of next turn, and then we can really pile on the pressure. Don't really want to attack here because our opponent can attack back for 6 quite easily and possibly attack back for more, so we kind of need to keep the defences back. Woody Foothills finds a Blood Crypt for our opponent. So there's another Goblin Guide. So had we attacked, he would have attacked us back for 8, which wouldn't have done as much good. Actually more than 8 with the Monastery Swift Spear. So we're attacking with everything. The first Goblin Guide trigger doesn't reveal anything, I don't think. If we can get it to work. Reveals a Sylvan Scrying, I think, yeah. And then as we're going to be searching on the Wormcoil engine anyway, I figured we might as well use that now. Then we can change the top card on our deck, so potentially hit a land with the second Goblin Guide. So we do that. Search of another Wormcoil. Unfortunately, the second one also doesn't hit a land. It does hit another Wormcoil engine, so yeah. The next turn, I think we're in pretty good shape. A lot of Wormcoil engines. That's Destructive Revelry for the Wormcoil after blocking the Vexing Devil. So I'm still going to be able to prevent 4 damage, but I'm not going to be getting that 6 life, which is what we wanted. We get our Worm tokens down. And go down to 6. Draw out another Wormcoil engine off the top. So not much to be done here. I could have kept the Worm tokens back, but I figured gaining 3 life now seemed like a good idea. If I thought about it longer, I don't know. It just seemed like a good idea to gain 3 life now, particularly if he's going to draw an attack as command or something. He's got no cards in hand though, so obviously there is that, but I felt gaining life now would be a good thing, while I know that I can definitely gain that extra life. And then we get to play another Wormcoil. Yeah, I think attacking with the Worm token makes sense there. Gaining the 3 life is very good, particularly if he has an anti-life gain card. And you know, we're gaining 3 life when you compare it to his creatures. He's only going to be able to make them into like 2/2 guys. So apart from the Vexing Devil, of course. So I think that works out well. And yeah, our opponent concedes. Obviously, the top card was not something that was going to be particularly helpful to him, and now I've got another Wormcoil, and he knows I've got a follow-up Wormcoil as well. So yeah, in bad shape, and that's brought us back the win. So worked out well against a tough matchup. So on to game 3. Unfortunately, we're going to be on the draw. This hand seems decent, I guess. Like some more Tron pieces, but we're going to be able to turn 1 expedition map. Again, if we draw into another Tron piece, then might be able to get the turn 3 Tron, and then we can Wormcoil engine nice and early. So yeah, decent hand. Happy enough to keep that. Stomping Ground leads into a turn 1 Swift Spear from our opponent. Draw a tower, which is nice, exactly what we wanted to see. So we can run out the expedition map, and then on turn 2 set up turn 3 Tron. Swift Spear, suspends a Rift Bolt, attacks me for 2. So not too happy to see another Swift Spear down. Obviously he can rack up a serious amount of damage with those guys, so that's not great for us. We do naturally draw into Urza's Mine though. So yeah, we draw into an Urza's Mine, paid our power plant, and obviously set up the expedition map to go. Might search up a Ivugan instead now that we've got the Tron online, so we can search up more Wormcoil engines if we get to that point. But I think the real question is whether we're going to be able to live till next turn, and whether Wormcoil engine is really going to be able to save us. So another Swift Spear comes down, attack for 5 here. Follows up with a Vexing Devil, which we just can't really afford to take the damage for. So just going to have to leave that as is. Crack the expedition map. I think we set Ivugan here. And drop the mine, drop the Wormcoil engine, and hope for the best. Also drop another Chromatic Star. We draw into another Wormcoil engine, so yeah, getting pretty lucky, and it's working out very nicely for us. Very happy our opponent didn't attack the following turn. I'm guessing that's because he didn't have any of the spells, so he would have been attacking for like 3 and trading off a Vexing Devil, so it doesn't really work out for him. Either that or he's saving something more useful for a bit later on, but certainly works to our advantage. I can drop a second Wormcoil here. It's very good. Crack a Star just to get a little bit deeper in our deck. Crack a Relic, which will hopefully make him more difficult for him to cast the Tasiga, given that we know he has that, but generally just for the card draw. I'm assuming he doesn't have any anti-life gain cards in his hand, otherwise I think he would have probably attacked last turn. So I'm just going to attack here and get that 6 life in, because I think that will be useful. I mean, I could live to regret it, but I don't think I will. Lightning Bolt's at end of turn, which is interesting. He had Lightning Bolt. I'm not sure if I wouldn't have attacked if I was him last turn. Maybe not, maybe it was better for him to save it up, but now with 2 Wormcoils on the battlefield, he's in a pretty bad position, and yeah, that wraps that up. So yeah, not a typical matchup against red deck wins, to be honest. I got pretty lucky with some early Wormcoils in these 2 matchups that I won. Generally it's much more like game 1, which is just a brutal beatdown where you don't really get anything going and they kick you in. But yeah, this is winnable, particularly if you can get some early Wormcoils down, but generally red deck wins not a good matchup for us at all.